Good morning. My name is Ron Greenwald, and this is my business partner, Patty Gerke. And this is Senior Stay or Go Live Facebook, and we thank you and we welcome you to being part of our show today. First, before we get started with our great show and our great guest, we just want you to understand that we have fabulous videos over the last 3 years of amazing people. So we invite you to go to Senior Stay or Go Facebook page, Greenwald Gerke Facebook page, YouTube, or the greenwaldgerke.com, and Gerke is Gerke. And look at some of the amazing people we have interviewed over the last 3 to 4 years. All walks of life, all in the interest of bringing quality of life to our aging adult population. And that's what this show is really focused on, is advocacy, entertainment, education, and some fun to have the best quality of life for our seniors. So I invite you to look at our field of life when you have a chance, and I think we've had somebody from all of the positions on the show at some point in time. So if you need any help in any of these areas, contact us through our different Facebook, social media platforms, and we'll get it out to you. So with no further ado, Patty's going to introduce our amazing guest today.
Our guest today is Virginia Berger. Thank you so much for joining us. Virginia was originally an English teacher, and she taught English as a second language. In her second career, though, she became a certified professional coach specializing in retirement coaching. So she is a certified facilitator for the Conscious Aging Workshop developed by the Institute of Neotic Sciences. And in addition to her individual and group coaching, she's also a frequent speaker at the OASIS and the Osher Institute at San Diego State. So with that, I introduce and welcome Virginia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're very excited to have this. This is an interesting topic, and obviously on a lot of minds. Patty and I are both baby boomers. Some a little closer to baby, no. But anyway, I think we're all, for those that remember, Lyndon Johnson back in, it was Medicare, people 65, that was kind of the expectancy back in those days. But now that people are living well beyond that, it kind of changes the dynamics. So tell us how people are thinking about retirement and growing older.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important, and people are taking retirement more seriously now that they could possibly retire at 65 and live to 95. They have 30 years of opportunities to explore in their retirement. So they're thinking more about when they should retire, maybe retiring later than they would have thought originally. And they're thinking about, wow, maybe I could even have a second career. What am I going to do with all those hours that I could have for retirement? So it's become more important, I think, as far as planning for it. Yeah.
Awesome. What are some of the issues or challenges people face when they start to consider retirement that you help with?
Right. Well, of course, the first question is when to retire. So I help people actually have an assessment of retirement readiness. How ready are you to retire in 6 different areas of your life?
Because it's really not just a financial consideration anymore.
Exactly. Of course, that's probably the most important consideration. But also important to think about, I'll ask people, what is your vision of your retirement? And many people really don't have much of an idea yet of really what they want to do in their retirement. Some people do, but for those seeking retirement help, a retirement coach, they want to get more clarity around what is this going to look like for me. One of the things that people don't realize is that through work, we've come up with actually 5 needs from our work, 5 benefits of work that have become needs. And if we don't replace those needs in retirement, our success is going to be.
Is that socialization?
Right.
Is that one of
Well,
them?
one, of course, financial. Financial is a need that work provides. Another is socialization. So we have automatic friendship generators at work that we won't have when we retire. Another one is purpose. Many times our purpose is much tied up in our work. So after we retire, what's our purpose now? What are we going to do now? Another one is our status. And status may or may not be important to you, but for some of us it is. Another really big one is time management. Our work does often manage our time for us. And we think, oh, I don't want that anymore. That's the wonderful part of retirement.
That's exactly what I'm trying to get away
from.
Right.
I don't want to have anybody manage my time. However, a lot of my clients run into problems with managing time when they're in charge of it. So that's another thing we talk about. Yeah.
So in the classic, in the Ozzie and Harriet days where the husband was working and the wife would stay at home,
Right.
and the wife would say, I don't want him here. He's got to stay working. Is that,
Right.
do you work with couples in that capacity where if he's home all day, I will go crazy?
Or
That-
she,
that-
but vice
or
versa.
vice
Right,
versa in
right.
today's
Yeah,
world.
that's another important consideration. Yes, yes. Yes, we've established these roles if we've been living together for a long time, and whoever is in charge, for example, of preparing food, maybe, or getting food for us, that role, maybe in the past, as I'm in charge of preparing food, he's in charge of doing the dishes.
That's my house too.
Right. So I was prepared to do that for dinner, right? But not for breakfast or lunch too, right? so we have to make some adjustments for those things. And I know there's a story my husband often tells of a friend of his who his wife had retired earlier. And then the first morning he was experiencing retirement, he had the paper and he was so excited, I'd get to read the paper in the morning, And he sat down in a chair and opened the paper, and she came in the room and said, "That's my chair." so we do have to make those kinds of adjustments. Yes, yeah.
I'm just going to take us a little bit about the logistics of if I came to you and said, I'm 63 years old. I would like to retire, I think, at 70. What should I be doing over the next 6 to 7 years to get there? I'll hire you as my coach.
Right. Well, we would, if you came to me as a client, the first thing I do is some kind of assessment. So an assessment of, your retirement readiness, or assessment of your energy levels. So that gives us kind of because I believe your success, and no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's retirement or work or whatever, depends on the energy level you bring to the situation. So what is your energy level, and what's your energy level around retirement? And then what are your strengths? What are your skills? What are your passions? What are your values? Because all those are part of your retirement plan, or what's your vision for retirement. And then we look at what are all the opportunities available to you. I provide resources. A coach's job really is to ask questions and get you to do the work, as a client. So, what are you going to do around time management? How do you want your time to look? What do you want your day to look like in retirement? Where are you going to go for friendships and socialization after you retire, when you no longer have friends from work? What is your purpose? What's your purpose going to be in retirement? So I have lots and lots of exercises and questions around purpose, which is a really important thing. And then based on all that, we create a plan. So this is the plan for retirement. These are my long-term goals, my short-term goals. Once you have the plan, if you want to continue executing the plan, I'm there to support you, to provide accountability, which a lot of us need, which coaches are good at, providing accountability.
And we're good at resisting.
Right. And that's sort of the process we go through.
Do you find often that when people come to you, they say, yes, I want to work through this, I'd like to have a plan, but I really need the first 6 months to just chill?
Oh, yes. That's really important. If you can just during that first 6 months explore. Retirement's a transition, and like any transition, we let go of work, for example, in this case. And then it's nice if we have what we call the neutral zone, when we can just relax, explore, figure out
Because
what all the
something might come up
opportunities
that
are.
you didn't plan or think of.
Exactly.
And it might be a great opportunity.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what happened for me. I was what's called a continuer, because I worked full-time as a teacher. I was able to just go part-time. So I had a particular program I did every spring for the first 5 or 6 years I was retired, and that kept me in touch with teaching, which I love, but I also had a lot of free time. So, but then, like 3 years into my retirement, a counselor at Grossmont College said, Virginia, I'm starting a life coaching program. Would you like to be trained and try this? So I said, well, yeah, I'll give it a try. And so for 3 or 4 years, I worked in that program with at-risk students at Grossmont College as a life coach. So I met with about 5 students every week and helped them make the transition into college. And that's how I figured out 6 years later that that's what I wanted to do in my retirement, just from that, kind of random opportunity. So it's nice if you can just have that time to explore different options, try different volunteer opportunities, maybe different activities that you've always wanted to do that you never were able to before. Take classes. Taking classes at Osher and OASIS is a really great way to explore. Yeah, and then there's whatever you decide to do.
You use the word at risk for college kids, but it's a
Right.
similar thing with seniors looking to retire. Would that be?
That's true. The same kinds of things, because not everybody's successful at retirement. Some people can go into isolation, or if you already tend to be an introvert, you can isolate yourself. It's very easy to do in retirement. Or the time management things, a lot of TV time. A lot of people go into retirement and watch hours and hours of TV, which is very depressing.
We hope they're watching right now.
Right, right.
Facebook Live. Not
Yes.
me TV, but Facebook Live.
Right,
Go ahead.
right. So there are risks, right?
Right.
Definitely. Or they go back. This I can't stand this, and go back to work too soon before they've really given it a try. Yeah. So.
Again, Patty and I work a lot with widows and widowers in
Right,
terms of they're
right.
looking maybe to move to a senior community and things like
Right,
that. So
right.
that's the conversation.
Right.
But in terms of you're working with people that are planning on retirement, would you want to work with people that are already retired to maybe they're in a funk?
Oh yeah, that actually probably an equal number of my clients
Oh,
are
okay.
already retired. Right. Yeah. They're finding they need more accountability, more time management. They're kind of finding
Floundering
that
a
too
little
many
bit.
hours. And want to find a new purpose. Yeah.
What is the difference between working with a retirement coach versus a financial planner, since finance is really number one?
Right, right. The perfect thing I think is to work with both. So most people start with a financial planner, and then most organizations and companies support people who are retiring by bringing in financial planners or people related to finances to help them with that. So I think that's a wonderful place to start. And good financial planners, of course, also talk to people about what's their vision, so that they can help them budget for everything that they have in mind for their plan. However, most financial planners I know would readily admit that there is the psychological, emotional side of planning that they don't really focus on, which a retirement coach can focus on then. Yeah.
Patty, we're going to have to think about our field. Our field of life takes in most everybody that comes in play in terms of making sure the senior has a good quality of life.
Yes.
And we have coach.
Yes.
But we think of the coach in our world as what we call a fiduciary in terms of that. But
Right.
we're going to have to kind of make sure we have you on the field of life as we rethink this, because it really is, mind, body, spirit. Is that
Exactly.
part of your?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and retirement is a time when a lot of people go inside and do a lot more reflection and a lot more spiritual work. And a lot of my clients say to me, I really want to increase my spiritual practice. So that's something that I really love to work with them on also. Yeah.
As I say, I broke my ankle about a year and a half, a little over a year ago now, and so it was my right, so I couldn't drive. So I was Ubering and lifting all over town,
Yes.
and chauffeuring.
Yes.
But when I couldn't find my chauffeur, I was Ubering and Lyft, and it was fascinating, I would say, and I actually, because it's all obviously on my credit card bill, right?
Yes.
And I had 50 Uber drives during that period.
Right.
And I would say probably 75% of the Uber drivers were retirees.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Because they
Yeah.
were either saying, I got to find something to do to keep myself active and things like that. So
Yeah.
And to
That's a great-
socialize.
And to socialize.
and the social, and
Yeah.
they do socialize.
Oh, yeah.
Because I always sit in the front seat just to have some conversation with them, and
Yeah.
they tell
Yeah.
my wife wanted me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just enough work, but not too much. And it's
Right, they
yeah.
can name.
Well, and you can pick and choose.
That's
so
right.
if you're going
Your
out of town, you
hours.
just don't
Exactly.
sign up for any work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good option.
So what do you find when you're talking with your clients, their major concerns about getting older? I can tell you mine, but
Right. Right. Well, staying healthy and independent and active is of course one of the main things. Staying connected with other people, close friends and family. I think that becomes even more important as we get older. Again, having meaningful activities, meaningful activities where they're out socializing, learning, continuing to grow and learn is really important. And preparing, especially for older olds, because we have different we have young olds and olds and older olds,
right.
especially older olds.
When is older old? 85
older olds?
or old?
75.
Oh,
Starts
75.
at 75
Is
to 85.
older old.
Really?
Oh, I would.
Yeah. According to
Can we push that up?
that schedule, yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah.
As we know, as we get older, we get more different. So the number 75 is very different.
Right.
For everybody
right.
experiences it very differently. Yeah.
Because I'm still 29, but anyway. I
Right.
digress.
Right. So, no, the question was, we got off track.
Growing older.
Oh, growing
major
old, their
concerns.
concerns, right? Yeah. And of course, how and where they're going to live. That's a big question. I know my husband and I recycle it constantly. It goes away for a while and it comes back. Oh, yeah, we haven't really dealt with that yet, and that's a big concern. And so those are some of their major concerns, I think. As we get older. Yeah.
And I think it's become more their concerns than just, am I going to outlive my money because we're living longer? So there's more to consider than just the financial aspect
that's right.
anymore, because
Right.
it's, how healthy will I be?
Exactly.
Will I be able to be independent?
Right.
Where will I live? So
Right.
I think we've added almost more stress
Yeah, right.
onto retirement and aging because of the fact that we're living longer. And
Right.
everybody wants to do it as healthy as possible, as independent as possible.
Exactly.
And pretty much 98% of the people want to remain in their own home, but we know everybody can't because there's tons of communities out there being built every day. So I guess we have a question.
Yeah.
Just a comment from Nancy Greenfield. She
Okay.
said, there's so many amazing ideas and suggestions here. To hear the possibilities, the idea of finding a purpose in retirement is so valuable, and we know this. Staying active and exercising, often with friends, keeps our bodies and connections clear. Thanks, Virginia.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
So does the conscious aging movement address these concerns, or
Yes, very much so. There are several organizations now that focus on what we call conscious aging, or we probably think of it as more positive aging with an awareness of the choices that we have. We all know that there are lots of challenges as we get older, as our body does get older and not as responsive as we want it to be all the time. And how we respond to that really makes a difference in how we age. In fact, there's research. Becca Levy's done a lot of research. In one of her studies, she found that she studied older people, over 600 of them, and she found that people that had a positive attitude toward aging lived on an average of 7.5 years longer than those who had a negative attitude toward aging. So conscious aging wants to make us aware of that and prepare us. So, we talk about things like self-compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, going within more, having time.
new normals?
New normals, exactly. That's a good way to put it too. Yeah, going inside and drawing on the resources we have, looking at our life, doing life reviews and saying, wow, these are the things that I've experienced so far, and this is how I've dealt with it well, or maybe not so well, and this is what I've learned. So and the conscious aging movement is so supportive. They have classes and all kinds of opportunities for you to, and also to get together and share our wisdom, because we learn so much from each other. Yeah.
How would someone find a lot of that information for the conscious aging lectures or seminars or
yeah,
conferences? Or
Right. There's a whole group of organizations. Some of the big ones are Saging International. They have a wonderful website with all kinds of classes. There's a Center for Conscious Elderhood with Ron Pevney. He does also wonderful things. They have, wonderful newsletters. He actually does rites of passage from adulthood to elderhood at his center, and he comes to Oceanside once a year. So,
oh, wow.
yeah.
And your website?
My website also.
And it's called
the babyboomerretirementcoach.com.
the babe
Yes.
the with
The
that.
babyboomerretirementcoach.com. Right.
That's easy. I can remember that.
Yeah.
So I was just I see a lot of synergy in terms of what Patty and I, because Patty and I really try to work. I mean, it's just interesting in terms of coaching is also quality of life and aging successfully. And one of the things that people resist is to do modifications in their home so they don't fall and things like that.
Right.
Is that something, like, we always hear that? No, I'm not I'm not moving that area rug, even though I'm in a walker and I'm going to trip.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that you would work with them as well, or is that a different?
No, that's a different area, but there are people that are
Right.
specialize in that, and also helping people find the right place like you do. Yeah.
But it would certainly be, because you're their coach, they may take advice from you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, or I can help them maybe see the advantage better. Yeah.
Or at least suggest this might be someone you might like to meet with.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
maybe get a proposal from.
That's right. That's right. And we do that. Yeah.
And to go over it, because we're running a little short on time, your classes that you provide. I mean, I saw.
Yes. So I do periodically do conscious aging workshops, and those are typically 6 to 8 week workshops.
Oh.
We meet 2 hours at a time, and we. And
Is this in a group? This is a group.
This is in a group, right? And this program was developed by the IONS Institute, and they did, they previewed it and worked really hard on the curriculum. So it deals with a lot of these issues we talked about that people experience as they're aging. And I do those through OASIS usually.
And just for the people that don't know, OASIS is.
OASIS is a nonprofit organization that has many, many classes for people 55 and older.
And it's nationwide.
Nationwide, right. The San Diego main office is in Grossmont Center.
Right.
But when I teach usually at the Unity Center, which is in the Miramar area as a satellite. So they have many satellite locations also. Yeah.
Wow. Patty?
So do you have any last words of wisdom to share?
On ageism,
Wow.
I guess. Is
Yeah, we need to get to ageism, but
Ageism.
ageism is of course, another issue that we all need to think about. And I am doing a presentation on ageism on May 17th at OASIS, so if anybody's interested.
And they could find that information on your website?
On my website, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think that for me, it's just so exciting to have the opportunities we have as we age. So to think of it as something that's a real gift. This is a gift we've been given of retirement and aging, of all these hours that we can make, where we can make choices, good choices that are positive and help us continue to grow and learn, and just to enjoy life. I think that's the point I'd like
That's
to
very
make.
apropos, because the next time Patty and I are on Facebook Live, she will just have returned from an amazing trip. I'm not going to give any away the details.
Oh, wow.
So it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip that is amazingly emotional. We won't go into the details of that, but we can talk off air.
Right.
But I'm very excited for that, for her. And I agree with you. It's just, I mean, my dad, I just finished my dad, who like literally 24 hours before he passed away, he's going, yeah, I'm going to start a new business with you, my kids. He's telling the nurse this.
Right.
I got a great idea for a new business.
Yeah.
And, like, we're going, Dad, okay,
Yeah.
So it's all about, and he lived well over he was in his 90s, so
Sure.
he had a positive
a
attitude about
wonderful
things.
attitude,
So
yeah.
I learned from him a lot.
Yeah.
So, well, thank Virginia. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for-
being here.
thank you for
And
the opportunity. Yeah.
Go give the website again. The
The babyboomerretirementcoach.com.
A lot of great information on that site. So, Patty and I thank you for joining us today. And look for us, PattyGurkey.com, Patty Senior Stay or Go TV, Facebook Live, and Greenwald Gurkey Facebook. We thank you for being here today. Have a great month of May, and we'll see you in June.